Salutations everybody, it is Maddie here today with my hot take on Fortnite's Battle Royale mode. There has been some controversy surrounding this because Bluehole Studio isn't too happy that their mode is being copied directly into Fortnite pretty much, but that's what happens when your game is super popular. I mean, look how many games have copied Ubisoft's open world structure of climbing the tall thing and then getting all the little spots on your minimap. I mean, come on, it happens. But that's not what I'm talking about today. I just want to talk about the game mode itself. Before I dive into that, I do need to clarify for any new viewers, this is not a sponsored video because I know that Epic Games and Gearbox are paying a lot of people to talk about Fortnite, and I have a no sponsorship policy on my channel because of the Patreon, just because I think it's kind of dirty money and I don't want my opinion being bought. But I think it's worth clarifying anyway because there is a lot of money floating around with this game, so do know this is just my own opinion on it. I'm going to talk about some pros and cons basically with this because I've been playing a lot of it despite having about 40-ish hours in PUBG. I think the reason I've gravitated towards Fortnite's Battle Royale mode so much is because I'm very big on art style, and I do like the art style in Fortnite. I didn't like the base game all too much. Like I said in my review of the game, it is Fallout 4 settlement mode on steroids. All you do is build up the biggest structure you can, activate the horde mode, and that's it. So the PvE in this game is pretty lackluster, but here's where the first pro comes in. You can download it free to play and get access to the Battle Royale mode. It's available on all systems, so why not, right? There's so many players that can hop in, and it actually makes sense within its own universe how the storm is closing in throughout the island, because that's kind of what the PvE aspect of the game's all about. So it doesn't feel entirely forced and actually works very well in game. Now, it is your standard PUBG affair in many ways. The map looks similar. You fly in on a random object, you skydive out, then you float to your favorite spot, you loot the hell out of that building you just dropped in, facing off against 100 players with a max squad size of 4, and winning is the best goddamn feeling ever. So where does this differentiate? Well, there's really only one key mechanic in Fortnite that makes it different from PUBG, and I think that's the other reason that I have personally started to gravitate towards this mode over my time on PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. That's the dynamic building aspect. While I didn't like it in the horde mode, being able to build your cover on the fly when you get into gunfights is a different experience because it rewards your map knowledge. It rewards your ability to read the game and where exactly the match is going to end up, and if you're prepared for that battle. Now, this isn't to say PUBG is not dynamic. It absolutely is, because every match in its own right is ending entirely differently given its map size. But since Fortnite doesn't really have the luxury of a gigantic map, a lot of its dynamic nature comes down to the buildings players create and what you're encountering in the world itself. It sounds frustrating on paper because I remember feeling almost exhausted entering it for my first time, thinking, great, someone's just gonna kill me from a distance from some random fortress they built. But once you build your own with your friends, and you have to either move out of it because the circle's closing in too tight, and much like PUBG, every match plays out differently, but it's thanks to its own built-in mechanic that I never expected to work out that well. Especially because I was one of the early adopters of Fortnite who spent $60 on it. This was the last reason I thought I'd be returning to the game, but it's worked out pretty well. On the complaint side of things though, there's not as many unmarked areas to drop in, and given the fact that the map size is a lot tighter, you're gonna find yourselves in gunfights right off the bat, dying much faster, and that player count whittling down at a much quicker pace. So if you want a faster version of PUBG, this is definitely the mode for it. That doesn't mean that that slow crawl at the end when there's about 20 alive isn't there. It's just those beginning parts, players drop like flies. The other abysmal problem with this game is its horde looting and inventory management. When an enemy dies, all their loot scatters on the ground. There's no way to select and rifle through exactly what you want to pick up. You just gotta hope that you're in the right radius at just the right angle to pick it up. It's frustrating, and when you're trying to loot on the fly because you know an enemy's coming and you got about 10 seconds, it's the worst feeling because a lot of times you'll forego that loot simply because the game mechanics are holding you back. So Fortnite's Battle Royale mode is not perfect, but there is a lot of potential there if they can sort out that inventory system. If they can somehow expand the map, that would also be excellent. Other than that, I've been enjoying my time in it, especially my friends who got it for free have been really having a blast with it. And I mean, you can't argue free, man, so I do recommend you guys give this a download, get a squad together, try it out, because I have been enjoying it a lot and I did want to talk about it in a video. Have you been playing Fortnite's Battle Royale mode, or do you think it's good PUBG's got some competition now so they have to continuously build on their game? Let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Those links are in the description down below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting that as it fuels all the content we create here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.